Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio podcast and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Renee Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Keith Davis. Keith and I are going to be talking on the topic mental fitness, how to build the muscle of your brain. And I will tell you, I have been in the space of the brain. I'm actually rereading a book right now, that Think and Grow Rich. And I'm on the chapter now about the brain and how the brain is both a receiving and it both receives and transmits out. So we need to build this muscle. We need to build the brain. And of course, it's the most powerful organ. So what we're going to be talking about here is something that I have never introduced on the show, so I'm very excited to bring you this conversation on mental fitness. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunities to be on your podcast and to spread this mission of mental fitness. And not only is it about understanding mental fitness, it's about making mental fitness the new mental health. It's more palatable to the ears, to the mind, and to the heart for people to take on these practices in a daily manner. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to talk to you about it today.
Awesome. I'm thrilled too, because I'm going to walk away learning some stuff because, yes, I prioritize my brain health. All right, so let me give you guys a brief introduction. In a world where mental fitness is often overlooked, Keith Davis, founder and CEO of Affirmed U LLC, is leading the charge to make mental well-being a priority. As a seasoned professional aviator, David understands the intense pressure faced by high-stakes professionals. His journey into mental fitness was sparked by a personal experience, seeing a family member grapple with PTSD, which ignited a passion for creating innovative mental fitness tools accessible to all. Determined to bridge the gap between mental health and practical solutions, Davis launched Affirmed U LLC in the summer of 2024. His suite of groundbreaking applications, Inner Journey, Mental Clarity, Parenting, Parent Wellness, and Neuro Journey, Mental Fitness, addresses a wide range of mental fitness needs. Each app empowers users to strengthen their minds, manage stress, and build resilience, ensuring that mental fitness is as normalized and accessible as physical fitness. All right. So we've prepped this a little bit, so now we're going to dive right in.
Okay.
All right. So, Keith, how would you explain the concept of mental fitness and how it relates to viewing the brain as a muscle?
Yeah, great question. So I like to explain this by paralleling this with physical fitness. Everyone understands what it means to exercise and have an exercise routine, something that you do daily, whether it's in the morning, in the middle of the day, in the evening. Everyone understands what it means to have a diet, where this is what I eat in the morning, this is what I eat at lunch, this is what I eat in the evening to care for my holistic wellness. It's approaching it the same way, no different than you go to a gym and you hop on a treadmill for cardio. You go to the weights and you lift weights for strength training. And if you don't move, if you don't work out, you atrophy, right? The same concept is applied to the brain for your mental and emotional resilience. So it's understanding what the neuroscience backed exercises are that you can apply every day, whether you are using it in a daily morning routine or whether you're using it before a high stakes activity that you're about to do, whether that could be studying, reading, operating, performing on a podcast, having a podcast discussion. I did a mental fitness exercise before I joined you today, right?
Yes.
And you think that, this concept is something that people would easily, come to understand themselves, especially with the new discussions and the emphasis on mental health. But I think to your point, the problem is we haven't made that transition to saying, what is that active, engaged, preventative approach? How do I not only care for my mental and emotional well-being, you know, daily before I have a problem? And when I experience that problem, am I prepared to deal with it because I've been practicing daily? We found the suite of tools, the suite of exercises to do that you can do easy, effective, and practical into your life. And I look forward to talking about them because they are so easy to not only do, but you can see just out of just a couple days of doing these exercises with intention, how much change and impact it has on your day.
That's amazing. All right, so you set that up. So let's get right in. So, what are some of the daily practices or exercises you recommend to strengthen cognitive abilities, similar to how you would build a bicep? Now, before you answer that, my own personal experience with brain exercises would be things like crossword puzzles, Skadoodle. I mean, there's one time when I decided to learn the piano again because I know that it builds neurons or synapses because it's something new. So, how are the mental exercises that you're going to talk about different from the traditional things that we've heard?
Yeah, I love that question because it really gets into what the difference is and what the subtle nuances are of mental fitness practices versus mental performance practices. So, kind of
Okay.
what you just talked about is a mental performance practice, and that can be intertwined into a mental fitness practice. You know, doing the crossword puzzles that engages the brain to help you adapt to learning and recall, memory, things of that nature. But the mental fitness aspect of it, as it pertains to caring for your holistic and daily mental health, right, is different, and that's backed by long-term potentiation. That's a neuroscience term that says when you repeat a certain activity, you rewire the circuitry of your brain so that you essentially have fed your brain, your body, a certain input for better output, right? And we're when we talk mental fitness, and as it pertains to what the company's mission is, we're less talking about the mental performance aspect of it, although that is very important. But we're talking about how do you maintain resilience? How do you maintain, your emotional functions, under stress and anxiety and knowing that life has its ups and downs and its challenges. It's how are you mentally and emotionally in an intertwined fashion prepared to deal with those challenges. That's different than performance, right? And so the suite of exercises that whenever you're ready to talk about those, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll talk about.
Let's know. Let's. I'm very curious now because obviously I don't. I'm not doing any of them.
But you may be. I love that you said that. I love that you said that because so many people don't realize that they're doing it. And
Okay.
now it's about applying the intention right behind the activity that you're doing. And that alone tells the brain, oh, when we think like this and when we do this, this means we're caring for our emotional resilience. This means we're caring for our mental resilience, right? And so just the intention behind what you do also tells your body the story about what to prepare for and how to do whatever you need to do. So first step, I say, is reflect. It's reflect. And I also want to marry that up with this concept. So many people, and I'm layering this in this understanding of what mental fitness is, okay, versus mental
Mhm.
performance or anything else. So many people don't realize that they aren't in control.
Mhm.
So many people like you realize, but so many people realize that their external output is telling them how to think, feel, do. From the time you wake up and
Yeah.
you turn on the news is informing you on what to think and how to feel. When you get up and you open up your phone and the first thing you do is scroll on social media, well, social media is telling you how to think and how to feel. And when you walk outside and someone cuts you off in the lane and upsets you, that person is now informing you on how to feel, not just even about the occurrence, but about the rest of your day. We often get into this mind
Mhm.
trap where, well, my day started off like this. I guess I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It's going to be a terrible day. And you know what? It probably is because of the mindset that you're bringing to the table, right? So, mental fitness and its core is about taking control taking control of how you see, how you hear, how you feel. And how do you do that? It's intention and taking these exercises that I'm going to walk you through, right? In a practical mental fitness routine that you don't have to do all of them, you know, but when done in concert, it provides that effect that, cannot be ignored, right? So step one is realizing I have a control issue. I cannot let the environment dictate how I'm going to conduct myself and how I'm going to feel in this day. I need to take as much control as possible. As an example, people think that you have to sit down and do a meditation for 30 minutes to enjoy the effects of meditation. That's great if you have the practice and you've rehearsed it frequently enough to be able to sit down and just empty the mind or fill the mind up with something, right? However, meditation in its raw form is about intention and control. You could sit down and just focus for 15 seconds and just breathe. And congrats, you just meditated. Congrats, you just took control. So step one, I say, is reflect. Every morning I wake up, I do I look at a reflection. It could be a quote of the day that makes me think. It could be an affirmation as well or intertwined. And I couple that with a 15-second to 30-second focus meditation. That's simple. From the get, I'm telling my brain, my neural network, that I'm in control. I have decided that I'm going to approach the day with intention and focus and reflection versus turning on the news versus turning on social media or something or some other medium that's going to tell me where I'm going to go. Right. And the next step is breathe and prime. You know, we talked about this earlier, right? A lot of people don't even realize that breathing and things of that nature are very much intertwined with mental fitness and resilience, right? But it's the intention. So after that, I breathe. I do a box breathing exercise. It could be a 4-7-8, where you hold for four, where you inhale for four, hold for seven, exhale for eight, or 4-4-4, where you're inhale for four, hold for four, exhale for four, right? A box breathing exercise, which then tells my body this is not only how we're going to start the day, but also this is how we regulate. And it gets me into that alpha brainwave state, that brainwave and emotional state, so I can carry out the functions of my day and cognitive optimal performance. So I breathe and prime. And then something I think is going to be really interesting to you and the audience here is a mental priming exercise. That mental priming exercise is an exercise that these on a dot board, they light up and you just tap it for 1 minute. And you're telling you, it's think of it like a digital fidget spinner, right? And you're telling yourself, okay, I'm going to focus with intention and play this light board game. And then I have this game called Dodge the Clouds, and I dodge the clouds as I play, right? So there's a gamified approach. It's fun,
Yeah.
but I also know the neuroscience baked into this is telling me that I'm reducing stress, I'm reducing anxiety, and I'm increasing my cognitive bandwidth. So it's less, it's not even just, okay, the intention. Now we're getting into the baked neuroscience and research-backed approach to what a mental priming sequence looks like. And then after that game, it goes into a diaphragmatic breathing exercise where I do the box breathing. And the combination, the synergistic effect of doing all these three exercises back to back to back, one, it takes no longer than 2 to 5 minutes to do, has just, from a science perspective, a neuroscience perspective, reduce stress, reduce anxiety, and put me at an optimal stress level to start the day because you need a little bit of stress and a little bit of alertness to be cognitively primed appropriately, right? And the breathing kind of helps level you out. I do that sequence of exercise every day, every morning. I do it before I have a speaking engagement. I do it before I fly a plane. I pre-flight the mind like I pre-flight my plane. I'm an aviator by trade, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah. And so just to give you an example, after I do the breathe and prime, I affirm myself, right? So again, getting back into the control mechanism, instead of letting social media tell me how I feel about myself based off of who looks like what for the day, right? Or what the news is saying about, politics or whatever else is out there that might inform how I feel about myself for the day, right? I affirm myself. I make the choice. And that looks like goal planning. And so now we're not so I like to bring that up in that way because people say, well, affirm yourself. Do I just have to listen to affirmations? Well, affirmations are great, and we all know that that they are backed by neuroscience, that there is a scientific approach to affirmations and how you consume them. But now let's couple this aspect of affirmation and affirming yourself with goal planning. Because like as you know, and many people know out there, but there's a huge population of people that have not made this understanding that setting goals and following through with your goals is some of the underpinnings of what it means to be a confident, resilient person, right? And so you have to include that into your daily routine, right? You don't beat yourself up when you make a misstep. What you do is you set your goals, you set an intention, you affirm yourself. And I'm sorry, go ahead. Please feel free.
Yeah, I love that. Before you go any further, I wanted to comment on one of the first things that you said when we started out, that um, and that grabbed my attention, that if you don't have mental fitness, and I'm loving it, is that you become a reactor, which
Yeah,
means that you let your outside environment control who you are. And 99% of people are reactors unless they're able to calm themselves through meditation. Now, I'm a
right.
meditator, so I'm glad that you went there. And I said to you earlier that I don't think I do any mental fitness, but when I walk in the park, I am meditating. I am setting the intention to clean up my energy. I'm setting the intention of goals and purpose because I talk to God when I'm walking in the park. It's in nature. So that is great. But I
Yeah.
love what you said. It's not like you're doing 30 minutes of meditation in the morning and at night, which is what Deepak Chopra suggests, but you're doing less than 5 minutes. And you've got a couple of breathing exercises in there. The box breathing is fantastic because what it does, it your vagus nerves. It calms your vagus nerve, right? And that's why I do it. So yeah, so I mean, what you're saying, I'm thinking that we're doing, when we started this conversation, when we were talking about but strength training and cardio and things like that, I'm thinking that we're doing something like that. But yes, I love your mental fitness, and you're talking about reflection. Deepak Chopra is one of the ones that says at the end of the day, you should always reflect on how the day went, what you did wrong, what you did right. But you're starting off reflection in the morning. What's the purpose of reflection in the morning?
The purpose of reflection in the morning is because when you wake up, you're in that appropriate brainwave state where you are most susceptible to input, which is why, you talk to a lot of people, and I just talked to someone yesterday, and we were talking about mental fitness and how to incorporate mental fitness related practices into their life. And she said to me, it's funny is Facebook knows that I am most primed to purchase in the morning because I get up in the morning, Facebook talks to me, I click Facebook and I go ahead and I buy and I buy and I buy and I buy and I buy. And I said, well, that's because you are most, from a neuroscience perspective, you are most primed to be, wielded by input at that time. So
So what are
instead
you
of
reflecting on? You're reflecting on what you're going to do today or what you did yesterday?
Yeah, so it's a combination of those things, right? So in the reflection that I do specifically, I like for example, I have a system that I employ just to kind of get at your question. I've got
Mhm.
mindset Monday, I have character Tuesday, wealth and finances Wednesday. I do a health Thursday, health and fitness Thursday, a relationship Friday, gratitude Saturday, and a recharge Sunday. And I tailor my reflections based off of that system. So I'm hitting the different facets of modern day living, right? Things that I think about, know that would affect me, and I try to cover these across the board on a weekly basis, right? So I tailor my affirmations, my goal meditations, all towards that system. And that's just what I, other people can employ different systems, of course, whatever works for you. And we all know what you're going to do daily is what's best for you, right? It's no different than like whatever workout you're going to do is actually the workout you should do, right? Um,
Yeah,
right.
right.
But that's what I employ, and that's how I structure mine. Now, at the end of the day, what I do is that's when I reflect on the day. Did I live out my values the way I intended to today? Did
Okay.
I live out my truth the way I intended to today? Did I accomplish the top three things that I wanted to accomplish today, and why? Was that external distraction or was that internal distraction? That's the reflection I place at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, just like also just tying back to the breathing exercises that you brought up earlier, right? It's 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 something that you and I can recall, but it's something that everybody can do. You can carry a 4-4-4 breathing exercise and a 4-7-8 breathing exercise anywhere you go. You know,
Yeah.
and before I get back into what that neuroscience routine looks like, I'll say, I do these campaigns called Mental Fitness in the Wild, and it's where I go around here in the DC area, right, or Northern Virginia area, or wherever I'm at. Like I was in Atlanta at the Blacks in Tech conference just the other week, and I do these mental fitness in the wild campaigns where I am showing people through social media how you can practice mental fitness anywhere you are. It doesn't have to be this big grand elephant that you have to chew. It is so simple to stop and say, one, let me take control. Like when you go out, and like you said, I go out to the park. I've
Yeah.
decided with intention, this is what I'm going to do. I'm clearing my mind. I'm cleaning my right. Step one is taking control and setting the intention of doing that, right?
Right.
And so, like, just going outside, going for a walk, and saying, you know what, I'm going to focus on this random piece of art that I'd never noticed before just because it's part of the environment, and you stop and you just focus on the detail for 15 seconds. That's it.
I do
And you
that with flowers when I see
yeah,
one, but yes.
there you go. You're practicing mental fitness literally with the wild, right?
Yes.
You know,
Right. I get you.
and that,
Yes.
and it's so it's not just doing it though, it's the intention and it's the how regular you're doing it, right?
Right.
It's just like, you don't go to the gym once a week to get super fit. You have to go 3 times a week and you need some rest in between. But, you go multiple times in the week and you've got to practice this often. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We're paralleling this concept that's already extremely palatable to society and saying, do this with your brain. And this is what it looks like. I got off the plane from Atlanta to DCA. There was this beautiful artwork in the airport. And I said, this is mental fitness in the wild. Let me stop and appreciate and
Yeah.
just focus in on the detail for 15 seconds. And I record it, right? And I put it on social media to show people like
Right.
this is what it can look like. I did a breathing exercise. It was like very loud. I was in a donut shop here in Crystal City. It was very loud. And at that time I was genuinely feeling like, I kind of just want to calm, my nerves down. And so I stopped, I closed my eyes, and I just did box breathing.
Yeah.
I don't have to do the hand. I just breathe, just breathe for
Yeah.
four,
Yeah.
inhale for four, hold for four, exhale for four. And
Box
no,
breathing is powerful.
if no
It
one
is
knows, no one's the
right.
wiser, but you
Yeah.
just do it and you just say, you know what? I'm going to do this as often as I remember to do it. And that's separate to the whole daily mental fitness routine that I'm going to continue to come through here. But it
Right.
is the aggregate, it's the synergistic effects of those things. It's like getting back to my metaphor about working out.
Mhm.
If you really want to, I'm a fan of full body workout, because I think the body does everything in sync, right? That's just my approach, different strokes for different folks. But, like I don't do squats without doing biceps, without doing back, without doing, chest, without doing abs, right? And so the synergistic effect of me touching all of those muscles and working out all of those muscles means that my body's going to
That's
grow
why
and
they
change.
have that's why they have the circuit training because it does that's what I do, the circuit
Yeah,
training.
yeah, exactly. So apply that to mental fitness is,
Mhm.
well, if you really want to see, significant impact in what it means to tell yourself, I'm in control, and this is how I take control, and this is and these are the neuroscience-backed exercises that I do to exhibit it from a scientific perspective, then you do this every day, whether it's in the morning, whether it's at lunch, whether it's in the evening, and it doesn't take you a lot of time. So we talked about the reflection. We talked about breathing and priming, and I do that mental priming sequence, and that ends in a box breathing. And then it's affirming yourself. It's the goal meditation with looking at your goals. I just simply pull up a tracker and I see my goals there. You don't have to go write out a whole bunch of smart goals and anything like you just said, you know what? This was the goal. Yep, that's right. Got it. Now it's replanted in my mind. It's something I think about. I've taken control. And you can associate your goals with a specific meditation or specific affirmation meditation is what I call them. So that really kind of roots in, from a neuroscience perspective, through affirmations, that this is who you are and this is what you're going to achieve, right?
Well,
And then,
a lot of coaches tell you that when you write your goals, you should put it where you can see it, and that's
yeah,
basically what you're talking about. You gotta see it. You gotta put it in your mind.
yes,
Else, it's not going to do anything.
that's
I mean,
right.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so now, like you said, right, we have these one-offs where coaches are saying, do this with goals, or do that with breathing, and do that, to do this crossword puzzle for that.
Right.
Okay, synergistic effect in a positive way is saying, oh, this is mental fitness. This is the step-by-step approach. Oh, okay. When I think
Right.
of it
Right.
that way, now I
Mhm.
can really feel and see the effect of what this is for me. So after the goal planning and just reviewing the goal, and by the way, like I use an app and I set a reminder for myself every day of my goals, and I go into planning my day because now I'm creating a clear-cut plan. The world, I like to say, to everybody that I talk to about this, and anyone that asks me about like a morning routine, is that if you don't get it in the morning, 9 times out of 10, as soon as you walk out the door, the world is going to tell you what your day is like, right? If you haven't set the attention, if you haven't done the steps in the morning, you walk out the door. You have no control. Right? So at least prime yourself for having as much control as you can. You don't know if you're going to drive to work and get in a fender bender. You don't know that, right? So you know, um, plan the day out a little bit and tell yourself these are the top 1 to 3 things that I want to accomplish. And
Yeah.
if you want to look at it in a way that kind of brings all this together, you just looked at goals, right? I just talked about looking at goals. Now you're looking at planning your day. Now you're all automatically mentally primed to incorporate something towards your goal planning in the
Right.
plans for your day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
setting the plan says, not only am I incorporating this thing that's very important to me in my life, that's also going to build my confidence and help fortify my resilience, right? But I'm also increasing my cognitive bandwidth because I have less to think about and chew through for the day. I'm more
Mhm.
focused. Things are clear, right? So set the top 3 things, and then I meditate with purpose, right? I have these and we'll get to it at the end of the interview here, but I have these meditations that are purpose-driven meditations, and that's also part of the big difference of mental fitness, right? And taking this action-oriented approach, because I mean, I do really like the traditional model of meditation, but I also have really come to appreciate and love this concept of filling my brain up with the things I need to accomplish the day in an optimal way. So I have a thinking creatively and finding solutions meditation that I do. It fills me up with the language of thinking through creativity, the visualization of thinking through creativity. 10 minutes, I listen to it. So if I know I'm going to whiteboard out and I'm going to plan a flight, or I'm going to um, have a talk and engage with people about this concept, and I want to ensure that it's tailored to a specific audience, right? Then, I will listen to my thinking creatively and finding solutions meditation. If I know I'm going to fly and I know there's maybe some bad weather ahead, and I want to deal with the stress and the challenge and the anxiety of all that, I have a dealing with stress, anxiety, and performing under challenges meditation. You
Wow.
know,
I like
if
that.
I, yeah, if
Yeah.
I know I'm going through, and we're all human, so we go through things. If let's say I'm dealing with some bad news for a week and it's really kind of getting me off kilter from, the routines that I like to do, I know exactly where to go because I've practiced it. I listen to my delayed gratification, meditation because, I have a pretty structured diet. So, like maybe if I'm emotionally down, I'm like, well, I turn right to the Oreos, right? So,
Right. Right.
and so
Yes.
like, I will I I will listen to that delayed gratification meditation. It helps keep me on track. So I have specific affirmation meditations for a desired effect.
Okay, so let me answer this question because I was just talking to my daughter yesterday. She is starting to speak and she is does not like speaking. She was very, anyway. And as a coach, I'm trying to talk to her about affirmations. I'm trying to talk to her about setting the intention. I'm trying to talk to her about, thinking that she's a strong, powerful Black woman, those type of things. But
Yeah.
it doesn't work. So, what does a stress meditation look like in your
Yeah.
in your
And you know what?
meditation practice, right?
You know what? Like when for example, when I have an app and I'll get to it later, but when I designed that product, I
Hmm.
made it. And when I designed these meditations, I made it for people just like her.
Right. Okay,
Right?
good.
When I
So
made it
good.
for people just like me. right? Like for people like, my family members who are also military officers and who are like, well, how does that help? Well, I didn't tell
Right.
you to empty your mind or your heart. I said, listen to the specific thing that's going to permeate your brain with what you want to do. For example, and your daughter would really like this, so I would love for you to share this meditation with her.
I will. That's why I
It's
asked you.
yeah, it's literally it's the one called managing stress and anxiety and facing challenges, right? That one puts you in this visualization space like you're on the stage and you are giving a talk to a crowd.
Okay.
So it
Good.
really brings it in. It's a stressful event that because 80% of people, a recent survey that I was just looking at this morning, when they conducted a survey, like what are you most anxious or afraid of? And separate to spiders and snakes and lions and tigers, oh my, it was public speaking. People are just
Yeah.
afraid to
It's
talk
one of the
publicly.
top one, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, right. Um,
Mhm.
and so I created this meditation, and people get lost in the term meditation, but really it's a visualization experience. And something that is a carryover from my flight training days is, believe it or not, aviators are taught to visualize their procedures in the cockpit,
Okay.
right? We literally will sit down and we'll go through our checklist and we'll visualize moving switches, turning levers, putting the gear down, and it's procedural fashion. So, like, I mean, we're doing it in these high stakes environment, and people don't really make the connection that you're practicing visualization, and we've already proven that you can be much more successful as an aviator through practiced and rehearsed visualization, right? It already
Okay.
primes your mind. So I created that specific meditation with that in mind that, okay, what is something that most people are anxious and is public speaking? Everyone can relate to that. So when your daughter listens to that, it's going to put her on a stage like she's giving a TEDx or a TED talk.
Mhm.
And it's gonna say, the crowd is out here. This is you. You're here. You're feeling this. This is how, and it guides you through that visualization so you can come out feeling more confident. I also have a specific meditation I listen to for two reasons. One, when I'm about to have a hard conversation with a family member or a friend, and two, maybe I listen to that when I'm going to address a greater audience. It's improving communication with others. It's literally the name of the meditation, right? And so when someone listens to it, they don't think, oh, I'm just breathing and meditating. They think, oh wow, like this is actually really helpful. This is actually putting me in that position, and I'm now it's walking me through visualizing myself accomplishing that specific task. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Because you're right. My purpose in meditation is for relaxation, my and visualizing of the future goals or stuff like that. But I have not done the visualization, the meditation that you're talking about with a specific purpose. So that's
Mhm.
great because I know, because I'm in the space, that it
Yeah.
works. Because it's just like fear, you know. If you the more you do the thing that you're afraid of, right, the less it would bother you. So
Yeah.
putting your brain in that scenario where you are on the stage, you're talking, obviously it's going to go well. You know what I mean? You're not going to visualize that you're going to bomb or you're going to forget your words and
Right,
all that kind
right,
of stuff,
right,
right?
right.
So the more that you do that, and I can understand that being mental fitness, because yes, that
Yes.
will definitely work. And all the other ones that you're talking about, having difficult conversations. How many people, you know, having a problem with having a difficult conversation? But if you mentally rehearse it or you mentally walk through your mind about it, when
Mhm.
you're actually in that position, then it wouldn't be as bad because you felt like you've already done it before. It's like deja vu. So that is
Yes.
great. And I love the term mental fitness because listen, I start off by saying how powerful the brain is and what the things it can do, but it rules everything. And once you teach it certain things, then it's not going to try to protect you by not letting you cross over a bridge. I know someone else that's afraid of bridges. And you can do the same visualization where or this meditation where you're driving over a bridge and nothing is, you don't fall into the water, whatever. So it addresses the fear of mental fitness.
Yes.
Practice everything. I love it. Good
Yeah.
job.
No,
Love
no, thank you. And you're
it.
touching right on the root of this. It's setting the intention and taking control, right? And then you couple that with consistent
Yes,
practice. And
yes,
that
yes,
is how you are flexing this muscle
yes,
and building this muscle so that you
yes,
are ready for the event.
yes, yes. I bought it. I bought it because I know that's how it happens. And a lot of times, like me personally, I don't see pictures.
Mhm.
So I can think about it, but I'm not visual. But
Mhm.
if I'm listening because it's auditory, then that's perfect. You know what I mean? Because I'm totally auditory. I'm not, seeing the pictures, but this is perfect for
Yes.
anybody that's not visual as well. Hmm.
And I appreciate you affirming that and validating that with all of your experience, right? And all the research and studying you've done in the topic of the brain and neurology, because that's exactly what it is. It's having someone there to like in the space of an auditory response input so you can do output. It's easy, it's palatable, and that's why this term of mental fitness is so important. And you touched on it earlier. It's taking what that comes with all these negative biases and connotations, right? And saying, no, 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 no. Think of it like this. Preventative, active, daily oriented approach to this will not only prepare you for the event at hand, that speaking engagement, that flying engagement, that podcast engagement, right? But it will also prepare you for the low points in life when things get tough. You are more prepared and mentally and emotionally resilient to deal with those things so you don't tip over into that space where now you're having these serious um, mental health concerns, right?
Love that. Yes. And that's a great byproduct of what we're talking about, because that's great. Because if you're working on becoming a better speaker, if you're working on setting goals, if you're working on, box breathing so that you can calm yourself down, and then the carrot at the end of the stick is that you become more non-reactor, because a lot of people just react to their environment. One of the things as a meditator I have recognized is that I am not a reactor anymore, because I'm in the space of calmness. So yes, that is the carrot at the end of the stick. But one of the questions I have here for you is, and one of the great things about your app is that you've got something that people can use as a guide, right? And we're going to get to that later on. But how can someone measure their mental fitness journey, and know that their brain is being strengthened over time? We're talking here about, I put on the table, my daughter and her speaking stage fright or being apprehensive. I think when she gets on there, she does all right. But she was very apprehensive when it's coming up, because she's whatever it is that you feel, it's something that I never had. So I can't even understand what happens, because you know that you're capable. What is it you're afraid of? But a lot of people are. So I can't put myself in that position, because I'm one of the few that was bold, at an early age, and go up on the stage and not felt anything. But how does someone know that their mental fitness is getting better? Now, when you go to the gym, you see evidence, right? You see your muscles building up, and maybe you've lost some weight. How do you know that you're becoming mentally fit?
Yeah, solid question. And I love answering this question because it's very, very easy,
Okay.
and you touched on it, and I'm gonna expand on that answer because you now approach things in a non-reactive manner. That is something that you have realized about yourself, right?
Right.
Right. So, you're less prone to this immediate reaction to external stimuli,
Hmm.
right? And that's a big part of it. Because as over time, as you've decided and you've taken control and you've set these intentions, right, you feel and you think differently about your environment. You find yourself stopping. You find yourself breathing. You're in control. You find yourself not wanting, not even desiring to consume all this external content that then permeates your brain and your emotions and tells you how to feel and how to think, right? Number one. And you're going to approach things in this degree of confidence, and still everyone can feel when they're confident about something. You approach things with a degree of confidence and stillness because you feel more in control. There is no greater measurement tool that the human body can give us than the feeling of what it means to be in control. And I tell you what, unfortunately, we have so much external stimuli telling us what to think and how to feel. So there's a lot of data out there trying to inform you. It is very easy for you to tell when you're not allowing that data to control you. You stop, you breathe,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
approach things differently.
Yes, of course. You go and speak and you have no fear.
And yeah, and then you know what? And the greater measurement tool is intertwined with the goal aspect of this,
Mhm.
because once mental fitness, this daily practice, which I've laced in with goal planning and the goal meditations, right? And setting the intention for the day. When you've set that and you start doing things to work towards your goal every day, you see that, you feel that, you know it, and you see the response from
Yes.
yourself and the environment based off of what you're doing to achieve your goal. And then you start just knocking these goals out of the park.
Yeah.
That's when like mental fitness. It's
Yeah.
like I like to parallel it with going to the gym. Let's say for those that are really avid gym goers and they want to go get a hard workout in on their toughest day, on their longest day, maybe they don't want to go to the gym, but those that show up have beat the mental fitness game of this all, right? And they show
Mhm.
up anyway when it's hard and they get the workout in. It may not be the best workout, but they go and they rep. And that's when
Yes.
they know it's important to them. That's when they know that, okay, you know what? I've got enough discipline. And I know discipline sometimes it comes along with a negative, connotation, but it's not. It's discipline self-care in my perspective, from my
Mhm.
perspective.
Mhm.
You know that something's important to you, you do it. And then you start seeing your goal slowly accomplished over time. And you're like, I accomplished that goal. Let me set another. And you accomplish
Yes.
that next goal. Let me set another. That's how you see it. You know,
Yes.
you don't
Yes.
you don't need a whole bunch of fancy measurement tools. You see the output. It's better input
Yes.
for better
Yes.
output.
Output. Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So now let's talk about your app because your sounds very interesting. If all the things that we've talked about you've put in your app to help people to guide them through the steps that they need to take every day. So let's start off with the inner journey mental clarity app, and then you can talk about the other two. When someone opens that app, what they find and how do you help them with their mental fitness?
Yeah, and so I'll start answering that question by talking about, how all three of these apps were developed, specifically Inner Journey Mental Clarity, which is our flagship application. And, we just talked about, how to engage in these mental fitness activities. So we took a neuroscience backed approach. The mental priming exercises that we do in the application have been researched at the U.S. Navy Test Pilot School. And one of the researchers that assisted us with incorporating some of these mental priming exercises was on the research team there. So that's been extremely helpful to us. And we know that these mental fitness activities build neural pathways in our brain, which contributes to this long-term resilience and cognitive flexibility. And we wanted to take that and wrap it in this preventative measure and put it as something that you can do every day that takes no longer than, 10 to 15 minutes a day. Everything Affirmed You LLC does and everything that these apps are about is about that preventative action-oriented approach to achieve a desired effect, right? So let's talk inner journey, mental clarity. When you open up inner journey, mental clarity, you're going to see exactly what I just talked about. You're going to see a reflection space. We have community content there where we have everyday people like me posted on the app, giving some uplifting content, affirmatory content. It could be a phrase to help someone in good times or bad times, right? And that's part of that reflection. And after that content is consumed, is going to walk you through a 15-second meditation. It's just focus, right? And then you'll see the mental priming sequence. the mental priming, the light board and the dodge the clouds airplane game that I talked about, followed by the diaphragmatic breathing exercise, the 4-4-4. It's going to walk you right through that in a very checklist, easy to do manner. And in following that, there's a daily learning application, right? Where we post content that you can consume so you can learn something new tailored to our system of Mindset Monday, Character Tuesday, right? And it's a little different for Parenity and Neuro Journey, which I'll get into in a little bit here. But we understand that daily learning is directly correlated with neuroplasticity, right? And that's a part of your mental fitness and your mental performance. So daily learning, consuming content that keeps you engaged and keeps you thinking about different things and keeps you creative, right? And then following the daily learning, it goes into affirming yourself. You set the goal, right? You review your goal and you listen to a goal meditation if you desire. Plan your day out. That space is right there too. A journaling, it's called journaling and planning. You set your top three things to do for the day. You finish that and you go right into meditating with purpose. You'll see a list of all the different meditations, and there's about 10 to 12 of these, and we add new ones every other month to kind of keep things flowing. But different meditations to help program and rewire the brain for a specific desired effect. And we also have a new feature that I'm extremely proud of. It's called Hype on Demand. And what we've created this positive community space where we have premium coaches listed on the application that you can connect with that have gone through different challenges or have different experiences or different training, whether it's dieting, whether it's performance related, whether it's thinking, whether it's feeling, whether it's studying, that you can connect with. And we've created this space where we can tap all kinds of people that want to be a part of this positive space and make them what we call our uplift on demand coaches. So if you're having a good day, if you're having a bad day, if you want to maintain your homeostasis,
Mhm.
you can connect with someone and the company is going to guide you through this affirmatory experience where we say, hey, how can we help? Well, I've got this test and I'm feeling anxious and stressed out about it. Can you affirm me? Can you speak positively to help me feel better? Yep, I've got the right set of affirmations for you. Let's set the scene, turn on some music, light a candle if you like, or if you don't, that's fine. And what I want you to do is repeat after me. And this person is going to deliver affirmations tailored to your need to give you that custom made experience. And the idea is that you come out feeling a lot more confident or feeling better than when you came, right? That's essentially inner journey
That's
mental, along with the other apps, which are all baked in the same. And these are neuroscience backed apps based off of long term potentiation. Like I mentioned before, we've had the mental priming exercises that were tested at the Navy Test Pilot School, but we also have neuroscientists who have partnered with us to ensure that we are neuroscience backed with everything that we bake into the application. And they are very, very, very meticulous about anything that we put into this application. And I'm very proud of that.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So let's talk to us about it's not the focus of our conversation today, but what does parental wellness do? How does that work with the neuroscience part of it?
Yes. As just talking on the journey of this, I wrote a book called Success Habits. And this book essentially morphed into what inner journey mental clarity is. And yeah, so like I was saying, when I started this journey, it was a book that called Success Habits that then turned into Inner Journey Mental Clarity. And as I was looking to address a need, I saw that, we potentially weren't covering a very, very important aspect of one's life, and that's when they become parents, if they so decide to. And so we took Inner Journey Mental Clarity and we essentially took the structure of it so it's palatable to those who are already on this app and put it into Parenity Parent Wellness. And Parenity Parent Wellness is a cross of parenting and serenity. And
Mhm.
all of the content, all of the reflections are geared and tailored towards parents and caregivers and teachers.
I
So
got
our,
you. So it's
yep,
almost like focused meditation, right?
That's right. And so we also realize that maybe you have a short amount of time and you're dealing with, XYZ amount of kids, right? So our neuroscience backed routines are a little shorter and they're broken out between the morning and the evening, when you can cut out and get some space. We have on-demand breathing exercises that people can do that the app will guide them through whenever they get some time. We have a well-resourced free educational pool. We've consolidated all of these resources into the application so people can use that feature whenever they like. And instead of goals, we have intentions, you know, and we wanted to ensure that, we spoke to the struggles of parenting, right? Because, when you have kids, maybe you don't have all the time in the world to follow through with all these goals, but you might have the intention, right? And then the intention lands softer on you, and it's not just about doing what you want to do, but at that stage of life, most of what you do is geared towards your kids, right? And
Right.
a lot of the meditations that we have are baked in so that it talks to, how are you governing from the parenting perspective with your children, setting intentions to be more communicative with my child, setting intentions to be more emotionally present for my child, right? And the meditations address that as well. So we wanted to ensure that was like a safe and well thought through space for parents. And then we
That's,
took that and went into neuro journey mental fitness, if you want to talk about that now.
well,
Um,
we're almost out of time, so you can do
okay.
that quickly on that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, neurojourney mental fitness is essentially that cross of mental performance, resilience, and fitness. But, like I say, I want everyone to come to all of our applications under Affirmed U LLC. But if you just want to start, please, please, please come to Inner Journey Mental Clarity, right? It is on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. I'm giving everyone that has received and decided to hear this podcast interview, and I really appreciate everyone's time here. 1 month free to all three applications with the code TYM. TYM, when you onboard at the subscription screen, you put that in there, you'll get 1 month free access to all of our resources, all of our premium features, right? And we'd love
Beautiful.
to see you come on board with us and engage in this mental fitness journey.
I think it's beautiful. I love it. I mean, it's not necessarily, I mean, I love the whole complete thing, but because I'm a meditator, what I love most about it is the focused meditations. I love that. Right. And and of course the reflections, and intention,
Mhm.
all those things are very important. Um, I started off my personal fitness, I see I'm using your word fitness, personal development space in with The Power of Intention, the book by Dr. Dwayne Dwyer. So I know how important intention is. And once you set the intention, you can usually accomplish anything. It just starts off with setting the intention. So that's amazing. So do you have a website to keep?
Yes. So you can find us at www.innerjourneyapp.io. Is our landing page that'll take you right to our app pages. So that's INNERJOURNEY app.io. And our flagship website is innerjourneyapp.com. You come to
Okay,
either one of those, you'll find us, and you'll see everything we're doing to, provide preventative tools for people to make mental fitness the new mental health.
awesome. And one last question. What's your social media handles so people can follow
Yes,
you?
please follow us. Our flagship social media account is on Instagram at your.innerjourney. YOUR.INNERJOURNEY at your.innerjourney. You'll see the green, the logo with the head and the leaf for the brain with the green backdrop. That's our flagship color, and you'll see all of these mental fitness posts there. Please, please follow us there. Help us build this community.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Well, I'll definitely be following you. I definitely will be getting this app for myself because I love it. So you guys go ahead and take advantage of the free month that Keith is giving you. So again, I will link out in the show notes to Keith's website. I would link out to his social media pages, and I will also link out to the app that you can find on Apple. You mentioned Apple, but it's also, I'm sure it's also on what's the other people?
Yeah, the Google Play Store on Android. So
Right,
Inner Journey
Google Play
Mental
Store, right?
Clarity, yep, Inner
Okay.
Journey Mental Clarity is on both platforms, iOS and the Google Play Store.
Okay.
Parenty and Neuro Journey are only on iOS for now. The code TYM works for all three platforms. So maybe your journey is the Parenty and you have iOS. TYM will give you 1 month free as well.
Beautiful. Love it. All right, guys, I enjoyed this conversation today. I enjoyed talking about anything about, mental and the brain. And today we were talking about mental fitness. I hope that you guys were inspired by this conversation. Definitely take it further and work towards your own mental fitness. Keith, thank you for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. A transcript of this conversation with all the links will be on the show page, which is myhelps.us. Definitely go support this work and, definitely work on your mental fitness. Hopefully, you're also working on your physical fitness. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Keith, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Sorry. Until next time, namaste.
Namaste.